How much do you really need invested to replace a $59,000 salary with dividends? This video will help answer that. Hey, welcome back. I'm Marie Ams, and today we are answering one of the most asked questions I get from this community. How much money do you actually need invested before your dividends can replace your paycheck? We are going to use $59,000 as our target today. That is close to the US. Median household income, and a number that resonates with a lot of everyday investors who are building toward financial freedom. We are going to do real math, look at real yield scenarios, and I am going to tell you some things that most people leave out of this conversation. So stay with me all the way through, because the stuff at the end is just as important as the numbers at the beginning. Let's start with the formula. The math behind replacing your income with dividends is actually simple. You take your target annual income and you divide it by the dividend yield of your portfolio. That gives you the total amount you need invested. So if your goal is $59,000 per year and your portfolio yields 4%, you divide $59,000 by 0.04 and you get $1,275,000. That is your number at a 4% yield. But yield is the variable that changes everything. So let me run through several realistic scenarios so you can see exactly where you stand based on how your portfolio is built. At a 2% yield, which is what you typically see from blue chip dividend growth stocks, your big household names, you would need $250,000 invested to generate $59,000 per year. That is nearly $3 million. At a 3% yield, closer to what a diversified dividend ETF might deliver, you need about $1,966,000. At 4% yield, a solid middle ground for a balanced dividend portfolio, you need $1,475,000. At 5% yield, achievable with a mix of REITs and higher income dividend stocks, you need $1,180,000. At 6% yield, for getting into covered call ETF territory, you need about $983,000. At 7%, you need $842,000. And at 8% yield, at which some covered call ETFs like QDTE or JEPIQ can reach, you need $737,500. Now, I saw some of you perk up at that last number. $737,500 sounds a lot more achievable than $2.9 million, right? And I understand that reaction completely, but I need to talk to you about something before you run toward the highest yield you can find, because this is where a lot of new investors make a mistake that costs them dearly. High yield does not automatically mean high quality. Some funds and stocks show elevated yields because their share price has dropped significantly. Some are paying out more than they actually earn. Some have distributions that are inconsistent from month to month. A fund that pays you 8% this year but cuts its distribution by 40% next year and loses 20% of its share value has not helped your income goals. It has quietly destroyed them while you were busy watching the yield percentage. The approach I teach and believe in for building real lasting dividend income is to build your core portfolio in the 3% to 5% yield range using quality companies with a history of growing their dividends, and then supplement thoughtfully with higher yield positions that you have researched carefully. That combination gives you income that is meaningful today and durable over the long term. Now, let me tell you about something that most people leave completely out of this conversation. Taxes. Your dividend income is not all take-home pay. The government wants a portion of it. Qualified dividends, which come from most U.S. stocks that you have held for the required period, are taxed at the long-term capital gains rate. For many middle-income earners, that is 15%. But non-qualified dividends, which include most distributions from covered call ETFs and REITs, are taxed as ordinary income, the same rate as your paycheck. So if you actually need $59,000 to land in your bank account after taxes, your portfolio may need to generate closer to $69,000 or $72,000 in gross dividend income to cover the tax liability first. That pushes the invested amount needed higher at every yield level. This is why the account type you hold your investments in matters so much. Dividends inside a Roth IRA grow tax-free and can be withdrawn tax-free in retirement. That single decision, holding your dividend portfolio in the right kind of account, can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to you over time. We will do a dedicated video on account type soon because it deserves its own full conversation. Now, let me show you what building toward this goal actually looks like in practical terms. Let's say your target is $1,375,000 invested at a 4% yield to generate $59,000 per year. If you invest $1,000 per month and earn an average total return of 8% per year, including dividend reinvestment, you reach that number in approximately 27 years. Increase your monthly investment to $1,500 and you get there in about 23 years. At $2,000 per month, you are looking at roughly 20 years. I know those timelines feel long, but I want you to hear something important. These are not get rich quick numbers. They are get financially free eventually numbers, and financial freedom that lasts is built slowly, on purpose, with consistency. The investors who try to shortcut this process by chasing yield without understanding what they own are the ones who end up starting over. The T family does not start over. We build deliberately. So let me give you the real answer to today's question. How much do you need invested to replace a $59,000 salary with dividends? It depends on your target yield, your tax situation, and whether you need that income to grow with inflation over time. But if you are building a balanced quality dividend portfolio at a 4% yield, your target is approximately $1.5 million. That is not a number that happens overnight, but it is absolutely a number that happens for investors who start, stay consistent, and let time and compounding do the work alongside them. You are building something real. T family, keep going. Invest in stocks that pay you to wait.